Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my latest 2022 NFL preview video. Today, I'm going to break down the Buffalo Bills. Now, if you're new to my channel and you like football, hit that subscribe button. Join the growing community of football junkies and fans of all 32 NFL teams. Now, here's how my preview videos work. I'm going to give you 3 things I like about the Buffalo Bills, followed up by 3 things I don't like. Then I'm going to go over their schedule, go over their yearly win total odds, and at the very end, I'm going to reveal if I'm going to put action down on the Buffalo Bills. Let's kick this off now. 3 things I like about the Buffalo Bills. First thing I like about the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen. Now, when Josh Allen was a senior at the University of Wyoming, I was taking Krav Maga, and I sparred with one of his former teammates, a former University of Wyoming linebacker, and obviously I wanted to talk about Josh Allen, and he told me that Josh Allen could play tight end, he could play linebacker, he's the best athlete he's ever seen, and he hoped that when he got drafted, he went to the right team, and I think going to Buffalo, he did land with the right team. In my opinion, this is the only quarterback in the NFL who could actually play tight end or linebacker if he really wanted to. Plus, I think he's got the strongest arm in the NFL. No disrespect to Chiefs fans and Patrick Mahomes, but I think Allen's got a stronger arm. And he was rewarded with a massive contract this offseason, a well-deserved contract. And the best part about Josh Allen is that his best football may be still ahead of him. The second thing I like about the Buffalo Bills is Leslie Frazier staying as a defensive coordinator. Not too long ago, you wanted to hire a defensive-minded coach with previous head coaching experience. That's not the case today. And take a look at the 2 teams that went to the Super Bowl. You got Sean McVay coaching the Rams and Zach Taylor, who was the coach of the Bengals. Neither one of these guys had previous head coaching experience before they took over as head coaches. These are young offensive minds. Actually, Zach Taylor was the Rams quarterback coach before he took over as the Bengals head coach. And that's the trend of the NFL right now. And since Sean McDermott took over as head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Leslie Frazier's been his defensive coordinator. And the Bills were number 1 in scoring defense and number 1 in yards allowed. And with Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, now taking over as a head coach of the New York Giants, I think keeping Frazier as the defensive coordinator was a really key move. Frazier's loss is the Bills' gain, and I guarantee you there's going to be at least one NFL team that's going to say, man, we should have hired Leslie Frazier. I firmly believe if he wants to, he will be an NFL coach again very soon, maybe even as soon as 2023. The third thing I like about the Buffalo Bills is their offseason aggressiveness. If you go through NFL history, almost every Super Bowl winning team makes an aggressive move either in the offseason or midseason in order to win a Super Bowl. The Rams last year traded for Von Miller. 2 years ago, Tampa Bay signed Tom Brady. I can go on and on. But bottom line, Buffalo could have easily stayed pat. They could have just said, hey, we're good as is. We're just going to advance. And when they made a big move for Stephon Diggs, their team got a lot better. I mean, and they weren't just aggressive in Von Miller. They traded up in the draft for what appears to be your starting corner. They signed 2 Tennessee Titans who look like they're going to be starters on the offensive line. Bottom line, I love teams that take chances. And I think moves are necessary, aggressive moves are necessary in order to win a Super Bowl, which is what the Bills are trying to do. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not at all saying that, the Bills made these moves, they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I like the attitude. Just to recap the 3 things I like about the Buffalo Bills, a huge fan of Josh Allen, Leslie Frazier staying as defensive coordinator, and the aggressiveness the Bills organization showed this offseason. Now, 3 things I don't like about the Buffalo Bills. Number 1 thing I don't like about the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen running the ball. Now, last year Josh Allen was 2nd in carries, 2nd in rushing yards, and 2nd in rushing touchdowns. And there was a significant upspike in his carries and yards last year. And the way I understand it is that this offseason, after signing the contract, they want to really decrease those numbers, which is smart. But the fact that Allen can do all these things is really quite amazing. He's been extremely durable, but when you sign a quarterback this much money, you really don't want to use him running the ball. I keep in mind Your backups are Case Keenum and Matt Barkley. If Allen does go down, neither one of these two guys are scramblers. You have to run a completely different offense with both these guys in as backups. If they do have to come in and start a game, you have to run a completely different offense. Now, again, I want to emphasize that from the way I understand it, the Bills are not going to run as many direct runs with Josh Allen this year as they did last year. But the simple fact that he ran the ball so much, that's a big red flag to me going into 2022. The second thing I don't like about the Buffalo Bills is their losses at wide receiver. The Bills' number 2 wide receiver is Emmanuel Sanders. He's no longer with the team. And their slot guy, Cole Beasley, who was actually second on the team in receptions last year, is also gone. The Bills really didn't replace these guys. Now, Gabriel Davis moves up to the number 2 spot. Now, he's had 35 receptions the last 2 years, so he goes from being the number 4 guy to the number 2 guy. Now, keep in mind, in last year's playoff game, he had one of the all-time great performances, 8 catches, 201 yards, and 4 touchdowns, but they're really asking a lot out of him. They're asking for him to make up an additional 124 receptions, 1,315 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now the Bills signed some slot guys in free agency, Jamison Crowder, Trayvon Diggs, and they got some late round draft picks. But when the Bills traded for Stephon Diggs, it really changed their team. So I was believing this offseason they would make another similar type of move, but it really seems like the Bills are just overlooking the losses at wide receiver. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the third thing I don't like about the Buffalo Bills, and that is they're asking a lot out of Von Miller. Von Miller signed a 6-year, $120 million deal with slightly under $51.5 million guaranteed. And what the Bills are doing is they're having him not play outside linebacker, but they're having him play defensive end. And it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, but there is a difference. Basically, as defensive end, he's going to have to deal with a lot more physicality than he did as an outside linebacker. If you're Von Miller, you got 2 Super Bowl rings. You don't have to play another snap in the NFL, and you're probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. And Buffalo is asking you to switch positions, and with all the money that you're being paid, the guaranteed money especially, you got to produce like a top 5, top 10 defensive end. In the salary cap age, when you sign a player like Von Miller to this type of money, you got to subtract from other positions. That's why I think it goes hand in hand with the wide receiver losses, because Buffalo really didn't address the wide receiver losses. Levi Wallace, last year's starting corner, looks like he's going to be replaced with a rookie. And the Bills also lose Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes, which Von Miller replaces actually both of these guys. Hughes has been in Buffalo the last 9 years, and Addison was really solid against the run, plus he led the team with 7 sacks last year. I mean, you have to understand, you're asking Von Miller to replace 2 guys, switch positions, and if it doesn't work out, you really don't have a plan B, because, I mean, that over $51.5 million guaranteed, I mean, you're stuck with Von Miller for the next couple of years, so if it doesn't work out, there's really nothing you can do. In LA, he was a cog in the machine that had Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, but in Buffalo, he's got to be the number 1 guy, and he's playing at a different, more physical position. It's just a lot to ask. So just to recap the 3 things I don't like about the Buffalo Bills, how much Josh Allen ran last year, the losses at wide receiver, and I think they're asking a lot of Von Miller. Now let's take a look at the Bills' schedule. I'm going to go over the yearly win total odds, and then I review if I'm going to put action down on the Bills. The schedule early on is brutal. Out of their first 6 games before the bye, 4 on the road, and the 2 home games are against playoff teams from 2021. I do like that you kick the season off on Thursday, and then week 2 you host Tennessee on Monday. That gives you a few extra days rest. That's a nice little advantage. But if I'm a Bills fan, I'm realistically expecting 3 wins. I mean, I'm hoping for 4, 5, or 6, of course. But going into the bye, week 7, going 3-3 isn't unrealistic. After the bye, they host Green Bay. Now, Green Bay week 7 actually travels to Washington, so you have a nice little advantage there. After that, their next 4 games are all winnable before you travel to New England. It actually wouldn't surprise me if Buffalo wins all 5 of these games, but realistically, let's just say 4-1. Before you travel to New England, and you get home divisional games against the Jets, and then hosting Miami in December is I think a big advantage. I'd be also surprised if they didn't win at Chicago week 16. That gets me to 9, maybe 10 wins before the final 2 games of the season. And now last year they split against New England, and Cincinnati on the road Monday night, week 17, could be a challenge, but realistically, I think I'm looking at 10 or 11 wins here. And last year, Buffalo won 11 games. They won the AFC East with 11 wins, and that's kind of what I'm looking at this year. Now, is 11 wins enough to win the East? That's not a guarantee, but that's kind of what I see. And the yearly win total odds are 11.5 with heavy action on the over. Caesars has -140 for the over, and then Barstool has -141. I'm going to post the odds here, and you might be able to get 12 somewhere, depending on where you go. But personally, I really like the under. I'm looking at 10 or 11 wins. I mean, this schedule's really tough, and an early season bye, I didn't bring this up before, but they got several starters over 30 on their defense. They do have an older defense, so that could cause some issues with the early bye later in the season. But I like the under. I'm on the fence if I'm going to put action on the Bills or not, but I have to admit I really like the under. I'm getting good numbers, and I be honest, I'm not sure the Bills can get to 12 wins. Now, if you're watching this live, if you're watching the premiere on Friday, I have a live stream, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Every Friday night, I'm live. Join the Dan Show. Join me live. I answer all questions live. Anything goes. Now, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring the bell while you're notified every time I come out with a new video. Now, tonight's the live stream. Join me live. It's going to be a great show, and I will see you later tonight.